Hello, everybody,
Radio.
and welcome to True Chat Radio. Now, I'm going to apologize in advance to anybody listening. At the moment, this is our first show, and, we're not super organized yet, and actually my co-host isn't here with me right now, so we'll see if he joins us later in the show or not. A bit of a miscommunication there, but anyway, basically, I want to talk to you today about the iPad 3, rumors about it, what's happening there, iPhone 5, and things like that, Apple products that will be appearing in 2012, and I'd also like to talk about exactly what True Chat Radio is. So basically, True Chat Radio is for those people out there who kind of don't always know what to expect, or they want a little, variety. They want to know about different things each week. And that's basically what we're going to be doing here. Like this week, we're talking about technology. Next week might be sports. Week after that, it could be politics. Though I am going to warn you, we're a little bit biased with our politics, so you'll have to expect that. But like I said, this show, we're going to give it a shot here the first time. So here we go. As far as the iPad, 3 goes, the months of March and October for Apple have traditionally been the months where Apple tends to release its products. So the iPad 2 was released in March of last year, and the iPad 3 is expected to be released in March of this year as well. The iPhone 4S made its debut in October last year, and in October last year, and this year we will see the launch of the iPhone 5 and the iPad 4, if we are to believe this rumor. But, like I said, it's, highly likely since Apple traditionally releases products in March. So, according to Dig Times, they said that the iPad 3 will have a high-resolution display and will come with a longer battery life. Like we don't know. The iPad right now, I think, has pretty decent battery time, really. It's pretty reliable. I have the original iPad. I'm still happy with it. And I know that my brother uses the iPad, too. So, I think that the iPhone was pretty good. But, if I understand, I think we all kind of know, the reason Apple decided not to add more features to the original iPad is so that people would buy the iPad too. We've all heard that. We all know that. So, in the iPad 2, we see the, photo booth and the dual cameras, which was a big deal. Also, a better processing chip for faster speed. And also, they didn't change the display, though, which didn't really surprise me. I figured, they would be waiting until the iPad 3. So there's also been some rumors, is the iPad 3 going to be followed by the iPad 4 in just 6 months? Now, personally, I don't think that any of those rumors are true, but, it is possible. So, it'd be quite a feat if Apple does achieve that, and I think it upset a lot of people just because of the release right after the iPad 3. But according to Dig Times, which we talked about earlier, they believe that the iPad 4 will be released to the counter and Windows 8-based tablets at the same time, which are supposed to come sometime around then, around October of this year. But honestly speaking, the iPad 4 rumor is a complete, that's just really not, if it does, in other words, to put it bluntly. So, I think that I think that everybody has to give whatever they have a try and really see what they think's best. Now, as far as the iPhone 5 goes, I was talking to a Verizon store rep the other day, and it was kind of interesting. We asked them, he mentioned that the iPhone, everybody comes in and says, I want an iPhone, and when when the rep asks why, people don't really have a reason. They just, it's the iPhone, and that's what they want. So really the question is, to anybody listening, call in and let us know what you think. Yes, call in 646-200-0912, 646-200-0912. You call in, let us know what you're thinking about that, as far as what's happening and so forth. So, let's see here if we have anybody calling in. Doesn't appear right now, but anyway, apologize for this. This is the test phase here, so we're just kind of going through some stuff. But let's get back to the iPhone. So, like I said, people don't really know why they want it. It's just because Apple has promoted it as well as they have, to believe that that's what they want. Really, I have a Droid phone and I have an iPad, and the operating systems aren't really that different. They all operate on the same basic premises, but I think the Android operating system, frankly, I like it better than the iOS as far as for phone goes. So, you've gotten a small taste of exactly what we're going to talk about. We're kind of waiting here, see if we have any callers. And on our next episode, which should be either tomorrow or Sunday, I know that on our show description it says every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but we're probably going to be changing that schedule to twice a week each month. So it looks like we have a call in here, and we're going to talk to them. All right, just a second. Hello there. Who am I speaking to?
Who do you want me to be?
Hello. Doesn't matter. We're just asking here an opinion. What do you think about Apple products as far as like the iPad and iPhone go?
They've revolutionized people's use of information and entertainment.
Do you have any personal use with any iOS device?
I have an iPhone, and each of my sons has an iPad.
Now, do you use them often? And do you use most of the features on them commonly?
I don't, but my sons do.
Right. And that's typically the way it is. I'd like to thank you for calling in. Hopefully you'll join us tomorrow again at noon for our next show. Remember to call us back at 646-200-0912. Thanks a lot.
Okay, you have a great show.
All right. So that was our first caller there. Most of our shows are going to be either 15 or 30 minutes. They won't ever run any longer than 30 minutes. And then our next show will be discussing Tim Tebow tomorrow at noon, like I said. So that's what we'll plan for. Hope to see any of you listeners back tomorrow. Remember, you can always give us a call during our show. Let us know what you're thinking at 646-200-0912. That's 646-200-0912. And listen to us tomorrow at 12. And we'll be discussing Tim Tebow and, what you're thinking about that and how far he's going to go in the playoffs. So we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for listening. This is True Chat Radio.